Aztec Empire was based in central Mexico. Their civilization started in the 12th century CE, with a group calling themselves Mexica. They were a nomadic people, but according to their myths, the sun god Huitzilopochtli told them to find an eagle, on top of a cactus, holding a snake in its mouth. This is on the Mexican flag today. This would show them where to build a new city. The city was built in 1325 CE, on an island in Lake Texcoco, and called Tenochtitlan. Unlike the Maya who had many cities, the Aztecs had one major city. Other towns and cities they conquered were allowed to continue ruling themselves, as long as they paid tribute to the emperor of Tenochtitlan. If they failed, or refused, warriors would be sent to destroy them. The emperor of Tenochtitlan held absolute power, meaning he could do whatever he wanted, though he did have advisors to help him. He lived in a huge stone palace in the center of the city. Stone buildings were only for the rich, and most people lived in wooden huts. Tenochtitlan was a huge city. At its largest, it had more people than any city in Europe at the time. It was connected to the mainland by 3 causeways. Just like Mayan cities, the center of the city was filled with palaces, temples and government buildings. The biggest building was the Templo Mayor, a huge pyramid approximately 60 meters tall. At the top it had 2 temples, one for the sun god, and another for the rain god, Tlaloc. The city did have streets, but it also had many canals, and most people traveled in canoes to get around the city. Most of the food came from chinampas, gardens built by piling up mud from the lake, which were on the edge of the city. Fresh water was brought from the nearby mountains using an aqueduct. The Aztecs were very religious. Most of their rituals were for the sun god. They believed that without regular sacrifices, the sun might not come up one day. They believed that the best type of sacrifice was not animals, but humans. One of the reasons they went to war so often was to capture prisoners to be sacrificed to the gods. People who were going to be sacrificed were taken to the top of the pyramid and tied to an altar. A priest would then usually cut out their heart using a special knife made of obsidian. Some people were even willing to be sacrificed, as it was seen as a great honor to make the gods happy. A skull rack, Zompantli, in the center of the city was estimated to contain over 120,000 skulls from people sacrificed. Unfortunately, as the city grew, the emperors needed to demand more and more tribute. This meant other cities rose up against them, and though the rebellions failed, it weakened the city. When the Spanish arrived, it meant they had plenty of people willing to join them to fight the Aztecs. The Spanish were welcomed at first, because of a prophecy that said the god Quetzalcoatl would one day come back to them. It was thought that Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conquistador, was this god. Instead, the Spanish infected many Aztecs with smallpox which was deadly, and they attacked Tenochtitlan and killed the rest of the inhabitants. They then built Mexico City on the ruins of Tenochtitlan.